Welcome to my channel English Achievement. If you like my video, please like and share it, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Today's video is going to change the way you see failure forever. What if I told you that the people who win in life are not the smartest, not the luckiest, and not the most talented? What if I told you that the real winners are the people who failed the most but never quit? Failure is something everyone fears. People run from it. People hide from it. People feel ashamed of it. But failure is not your enemy. Failure is your greatest teacher. This video is not about how to avoid failure. This video is about how to use failure to build a stronger mind, a calmer heart, and a powerful future. If you have ever failed in exams, business, relationships, confidence, discipline, or life itself, this message is for you. Stay with me till the end, because what you learn today can change how you see yourself forever. Part 1: Why failure hurts so much. Failure hurts because from a very young age, we are trained to fear it. We grow up in a world that celebrates only success. In school, good marks mean you are intelligent. Trophies mean you are special. Praise means you matter. Slowly, without realizing it, we learn a dangerous lesson. Our value depends on our results. Nobody teaches us how to fail with dignity. Nobody teaches us how to lose and still respect ourselves. So when failure comes, it feels shocking, painful, and personal. As children, we are rewarded when we win and corrected when we lose. Over time, this creates a deep belief inside us. We start thinking that success makes us worthy and failure makes us weak. Winning feels like love. Losing feels like rejection. This is why failure hurts more than just missing a goal. It feels like losing respect, losing identity, and losing self-worth. Failure does not just say you didn't succeed. It says you are not enough. And that message is heavy. When we fail, the pain does not stay outside. It goes deep into the mind. Failure attacks our identity. It whispers, quietly but clearly, "You are not good enough." It compares us to others and says, "Look at them. They are ahead of you." It makes us replay our mistakes again and again, especially at night when everything is silent. That is why failure keeps people awake. That is why it feels heavy on the chest. That is why many people quit without even trying again. Failure also hurts because society is unforgiving. People judge quickly. They label easily. One failure can make others doubt you. And slowly you start doubting yourself too. The fear of being judged, laughed at, or ignored makes failure feel dangerous. It feels like proof that all your fears were right. This emotional pain is often stronger than physical pain because it touches your self-respect. But here's the truth most people never learn. And this truth can change your life. Failure is not a message about who you are. Failure is not your identity. Failure is information. It is feedback. It only tells you what did not work, not what you are worth. Once you understand this, something powerful happens. Failure stops controlling you. It stops defining you. You begin to separate your value from your results. And when that happens, failure still hurts, but it no longer breaks you. Part 2: Failure is feedback, not a final result. Failure is feedback, even though most people treat it like a final judgment. When something fails, it feels personal, as if life itself has rejected you. But failure is not saying you failed. It is only saying that something you did not work. This difference is small in words but powerful in meaning. When you understand this, failure stops feeling like an ending and starts feeling like a lesson. If a plan fails, it does not mean you are useless. It means your method was wrong. If an opportunity slips away, it does not mean you are incapable. It means the timing was not right. If your goal feels far away, it does not mean you should quit. It means your strategy needs change. Failure never attacks your value as a human being. It only points at the approach you used. Sadly, most people confuse the two and punish themselves instead of improving their methods. Think about a child learning to walk. The child falls again and again, sometimes hard, sometimes gently. But the child never says, "Walking is not for me." The child never feels ashamed of falling. Falling is part of learning. Each fall teaches balance. Each mistake teaches coordination. The child learns. Because the child is not afraid of feedback. The body learns from every failure without judgment. But as adults, we forget this natural wisdom. We fail once and start creating stories in our minds. We say, "I'm not made for this." We say, "Others are lucky, not me." We say, "Maybe I should stop before I embarrass myself." Instead of learning, we label ourselves. Instead of adjusting, we quit. This is not because adults fail more. It is because adults take failure personally. The difference between winners and quitters is simple but deep. Winners listen to failure. Quitters obey failure. Winners treat failure like a teacher. Quitters treat failure like a judge. One group asks questions. The other accepts defeat. Winners stay curious. Quitters stay emotional. 2. Learn from failure. You must ask better questions. Not "Why am I like this?" but "What did this failure teach me?" Not "Why do I always fail?" but "What mistake did I repeat?" Not "Should I quit?" but "What can I do differently next time?" These questions turn pain into progress. They shift your focus from self-blame to self-improvement. Failure always answers honestly. It does not flatter you. It does not lie to protect your ego. It shows you the weak points so you can strengthen them. When you listen carefully, failure becomes guidance. And when you use that guidance, failure stops being a wall and becomes a step forward. Part 3: The silent power hidden inside failure. Failure carries a quiet power that most people never notice. It does not shout. It does not announce its lessons loudly. Instead, it works silently, shaping your character from the inside. Failure humbles you in ways success never can. Success often makes people proud. It can create ego and false confidence. Failure, on the other hand, brings you back to reality. It strips away illusion and forces you to see yourself clearly. When you fail, you naturally become more careful. You stop rushing. You start thinking before acting. You become more patient with results and more respectful of the process. Failure teaches you to slow down and pay attention. It shows you where you were careless, where you overestimated yourself, and where you ignored important details. This awareness is painful at first, but it is also the beginning of wisdom. Failure also makes you aware of your weaknesses. Success hides weaknesses because everything seems to work. Failure exposes them because something breaks. It shows you where your discipline is weak, where your focus is unstable, and where your mindset needs growth. This exposure hurts the ego, but it strengthens the character. Failure removes ego gently but firmly. It teaches humility by reminding you that growth is always needed. Many people you admire today were once very different. Many strong people were once broken by life. Many confident people were once full of fear and doubt. Many disciplined people were once lazy, distracted, and inconsistent. What changed them was not comfort. It was failure. Failure pushed them to reflect, to improve, and to rise again with greater awareness. Their strength was not natural. It was built through struggle. Without failure, character stays weak. Without resistance, muscles do not grow. In the same way, without struggle, inner strength remains hidden. Failure creates pressure, and pressure reveals potential. It tests your patience. It tests your values. It tests your commitment. Through these tests, you discover who you truly are and who you can become. Failure is painful and pain is never comfortable. But pain often marks the entrance to transformation. Pain wakes you up. It forces change. It demands growth. If you listen to failure instead of running from it, it becomes a powerful teacher. It turns mistakes into maturity and weakness into wisdom. In this way, failure does not destroy you. It quietly builds the strongest version of you from the inside out. Part 4. Why most people never learn from failure. Most people experience failure at some point in their lives. It is common. It is unavoidable. Everyone fails in studies, careers, relationships, health, or personal goals. But while failure is common, learning from failure is rare. Very few people truly grow because of their failures. The question is not why people fail, but why people do not learn from failure. The main reason is honesty. Learning from failure requires brutal honesty with yourself, and most people avoid that. It is easier to blame others than to face uncomfortable truths. People blame their parents, their teachers, their boss, society, the system, or bad luck. Blaming gives temporary relief. It protects the ego. It allows you to feel like a victim instead of a learner. In the short term, blaming feels good because it removes responsibility. But in the long term, it steals growth. Learning feels uncomfortable because it forces you to look inward. It forces you to admit mistakes. It forces you to accept that some decisions were wrong. Saying, "I made a wrong choice" is painful. Saying, "I didn't prepare enough" hurts pride. Saying, "I ignored the warning signs" feels embarrassing. These statements attack the ego, and the ego hates being challenged. That is why many people avoid learning and choose excuses instead. But excuses keep you stuck. They explain failure without improving you. Responsibility, on the other hand, gives you power. The moment you take responsibility, you take control. When you say "this happened because of my choices," you also say "I can choose differently next time." Responsibility shifts you from a passive victim to an active creator of your life. Honesty does not mean being harsh with yourself. It means being truthful. It means observing your actions calmly and clearly. It means asking, "What did I do wrong?" without self-hate. This kind of honesty is hard, but it is powerful. It opens the door to change. It turns failure into guidance instead of punishment. Failure only defeats people who refuse to learn from it. If you learn, failure becomes a stepping stone. If you refuse to learn, failure becomes a stopping point. Two people can fail in the same way, but only one grows. The difference is not intelligence or luck. The difference is honesty. When you stop blaming and start learning, failure loses its power to hurt you. It becomes a tool. And the moment failure becomes a tool, it can no longer control your future. Part 5. Failure builds emotional strength. Failure is one of the greatest teachers of emotional strength. When life is smooth and everything is going well, almost anyone can stay calm, positive, and confident. Success makes emotions easy to manage. But when plans collapse, when expectations break, and when effort does not bring results, emotions become difficult to control. In those moments, only strong minds remain steady. Failure is the training ground where this strength is built. Failure teaches emotional control by placing you in uncomfortable situations. It brings disappointment when things do not work out. It brings anger when effort feels wasted. It brings fear about the future and doubt about your abilities. These emotions rise naturally. Failure does not create them. It reveals them. And by facing these emotions again and again, you slowly learn how to handle them without being overwhelmed. One of the first lessons failure teaches is how to handle disappointment. Disappointment is painful because it comes from hope. When failure happens, hope feels broken. Over time, you learn that disappointment does not mean the end. You learn to accept the feeling without letting it destroy your motivation. This ability to accept disappointment calmly is a sign of emotional maturity. Failure also teaches you how to control anger. When things go wrong, anger often rises quickly. You may feel angry at yourself, at others, or at life itself. But repeated failure teaches you that anger does not solve problems. Calm thinking does. Slowly, you learn to pause instead of reacting. You learn to think before speaking. This control protects your relationships and your mental peace. Managing fear is another powerful lesson failure offers. Fear of trying again, fear of judgment, and fear of repeating mistakes can stop people from moving forward. But each time you fail and survive, fear becomes smaller. You realize that failure did not destroy you. This realization builds courage. Fear loses its control over your actions. Failure also trains patience under pressure. Growth takes time. Improvement takes effort. Failure reminds you that results are not instant. You learn to stay steady during uncertainty. You learn to trust the process even when outcomes are unclear. These emotional skills cannot be learned from books alone. They are learned through experience. Each failure makes you emotionally tougher. Each setback strengthens your ability to endure discomfort. Over time, failure stops scaring you. And when failure no longer controls your emotions, nothing in life can truly stop you. Part 6. Failure teaches you who you really are. Failure has a unique power. It reveals the truth about you. Success often creates comfort, and comfort can hide weaknesses. When things are going well, it is easy to believe that everything is fine. Weak habits remain unseen. Poor discipline stays unnoticed, but failure removes comfort. It pulls away the cover and shows what is really happening beneath the surface. When failure appears, it exposes areas you may have ignored for a long time. It shows where your discipline is weak. Maybe you were inconsistent. Maybe you relied on motivation instead of routine. Failure also reveals where your focus is scattered. It shows whether you were distracted, careless, or unclear about your goals. These truths are uncomfortable, but they are valuable. Failure also brings attention to confidence. It shows whether your confidence was real or borrowed. Real confidence survives mistakes. False confidence collapses after one failure. When failure happens, you discover how you talk to yourself, how quickly you give up, and how deeply you believe in your ability to improve. This self-awareness is powerful because it shows you exactly where growth is needed. Many people think failure is punishment. It is not. Failure is clarity. It gives you honest feedback, without emotion. It does not insult you. It does not flatter you. It simply shows you the results of your actions. This clarity is rare in a world full of excuses and distractions. Failure cuts through illusion and brings you face to face with reality. Failure removes illusion in another important way. It breaks false stories you tell yourself. It challenges ideas, like I don't need discipline. I work best under pressure, or I will succeed without preparation. When failure arrives, these stories fall apart. What remains is truth. And truth, though painful, is the foundation of improvement. Only when you see reality clearly can you change it. Growth cannot happen in denial. Improvement cannot happen through excuses. Failure creates the awareness needed for real progress. It points directly to the areas that need work, not to shame you but to guide you. Failure does not lie. It never hides facts. It shows results exactly as they are. If you listen carefully instead of reacting emotionally, failure becomes a guide. It tells you where to focus your energy and what to fix. In this way, failure becomes a mirror. And if you are brave enough to look into that mirror, you will discover not only who you are, but who you are capable of becoming. Part 7. Every successful person failed first. Every success story you admire has a hidden beginning that most people never see. Behind every achievement, there is a long list of failures, mistakes, and painful lessons. But the world does not show that part. People only see the victory. They see the result, the applause, and the recognition. They do not see the struggle that came before it. You do not see the rejected ideas that were laughed at or ignored. You do not see the missed chances that felt like the end of the road. You do not see the self-doubt that whispered, "Maybe this is not for you." You do not see the sleepless nights, filled with fear, confusion, and overthinking. These moments are invisible, but they are the foundation of success. Success is built on invisible failures. Each failure teaches something important. Each mistake removes one wrong path. Each setback adds experience. Successful people understand this. They do not expect a straight road. They expect resistance. They know that progress is often slow and painful before it becomes visible. The difference between successful and unsuccessful people is not talent. Many talented people quit early. The difference is persistence. Successful people fail and say, "I will try again but better." They change their methods. They improve their skills. They adjust their mindset. Failure becomes feedback, not a stopping point. Unsuccessful people also fail. But their response is different. They say, "I will stop." They take failure as a sign that they are not good enough. They believe failure means rejection. Instead of learning, they retreat. Instead of improving, they give up. The failure is the same, but the meaning they give to it is different. Successful people do not enjoy failure. They feel the pain. They feel the disappointment. But they refuse to let failure decide their future. They use it. They let it shape them. Over time, failure becomes familiar, not frightening. Each attempt builds courage and clarity. Many people wait for confidence before trying again. Successful people try again to build confidence. They understand that confidence comes from action, not from perfect results. They move forward, despite fear and doubt. In the end, the choice is always yours. Failure will come to everyone. What matters is how you respond. You can stop and stay where you are, or you can continue and grow. Every successful person chose to continue, and that same choice is available to you right now. Part 7. Every successful person failed first. Every success story you admire has a hidden beginning that most people never see. Behind every achievement, there is a long list of failures, mistakes, and painful lessons. But the world does not show that part. People only see the victory. They see the result, the applause, and the recognition. They do not see the struggle that came before it. You do not see the rejected ideas that were laughed at or ignored. You do not see the missed chances that felt like the end of the road. You do not see the self-doubt that whispered, "Maybe this is not for you." You do not see the sleepless nights filled with fear, confusion, and overthinking. These moments are invisible, but they are the foundation of success. Success is built on invisible failures. Each failure teaches something important. Each mistake removes one wrong path. Each setback adds experience. Successful people understand this. They do not expect a straight road. They expect resistance. They know that progress is often slow and painful before it becomes visible. The difference between successful and unsuccessful people is not talent. Many talented people quit early. The difference is persistence. Successful people fail and say, "I will try again but better." They change their methods. They improve their skills. They adjust their mindset. Failure becomes feedback, not a stopping point. Unsuccessful people also fail. But their response is different. They say, "I will stop." They take failure as a sign that they are not good enough. They believe failure means rejection. Instead of learning, they retreat. Instead of improving, they give up. The failure is the same, but the meaning they give to it is different. Successful people do not enjoy failure. They feel the pain. They feel the disappointment. But they refuse to let failure decide their future. They use it. They let it shape them. Over time, failure becomes familiar, not frightening. Each attempt builds courage and clarity. Many people wait for confidence before trying again. Successful people try again to build confidence. They understand that confidence comes from action, not from perfect results. They move forward despite fear and doubt. In the end, the choice is always yours. Failure will come to everyone. What matters is how you respond. You can stop and stay where you are, or you can continue and grow. Every successful person chose to continue, and that same choice is available to you right now. Part 9. Failure teaches patience and timing. Many failures happen not because you are incapable or unworthy, but because you are early. This is a truth most people misunderstand. When something does not work, the mind quickly says, "I am bad at this." But often the real reason is timing. You may have the desire, the vision, and the courage, but not yet the preparation. Failure in this case is not rejection. It is delay. Timing matters in every area of life. A seed planted too early does not grow. A fruit picked too soon is not ready. In the same way, success reached before growth cannot last. Failure teaches this lesson gently but firmly. It teaches patience when impatience wants quick results. It reminds you that growth happens in stages, not in sudden jumps. Failure teaches preparation. It shows you what is missing. Maybe your skills need improvement. Maybe your mindset needs strengthening. Maybe your habits are not stable yet. Failure points out these gaps. It says you are close but not ready. This message can feel frustrating, but it is also protective. It prevents you from reaching a level you are not prepared to handle. Sometimes failure is life saying, "Not now. Grow first." This message is easy to misunderstand. Many people hear it as never. But it does not mean the door is closed. It means the door will open later when you are stronger. When you listen to failure, you gain time to improve instead of being crushed by responsibility too early. Impatience makes people quit. They want results immediately. They want recognition quickly. When it does not happen, they feel rejected and walk away. But quitting does not protect you. It only delays your growth. If you quit, you miss your moment entirely. Learning, on the other hand, prepares you for the right moment. Each failure adds experience. Each delay builds maturity. Each setback trains patience. Over time, you begin to trust timing instead of fighting it. You stop rushing and start building. When the moment finally arrives, you are ready. You have discipline. You have understanding. You have emotional strength. And when success comes at the right time, it lasts longer and feels deeper. Failure teaches patience not to punish you, but to prepare you. If you learn from it, you do not lose time. You gain readiness. And readiness turns future opportunities into lasting success. Part 10. Failure creates inner independence. Failure has a way of changing the way you see yourself in the world around you. When you experience failure and survive it, something deep inside begins to shift. You start to realize that your worth does not depend on what others think of you. Praise, approval, and recognition no longer control your emotions or define your decisions. You stop depending on constant validation from others. And this is the beginning of true independence. Before experiencing failure, many people live their lives seeking approval. They measure their success through the eyes of others. They fear judgment and criticism. They may avoid taking risks because they worry about what people will say if they fail. This dependency keeps them small and insecure. Failure, however, forces you to confront reality. It shows you that the opinions of others cannot protect you from your own mistakes, and neither can they define who you are. You learn that true strength comes from within. Failure also teaches that people come and go. Friends, mentors, critics, and supporters are all part of life, but none of them can walk your path for you. Life is personal, and each person's journey is unique. When failure strips away reliance on others, it highlights the importance of self-reliance. You begin to understand that your decisions, effort, and persistence are what matter most. Your journey is yours alone, and no one else can live it for you. This freedom that comes from independence is priceless. It allows you to act according to your values, not according to what others expect. It frees you from fear and insecurity. Once you survive failure, you begin to trust yourself more than external opinions. You gain clarity about what is important, and your focus shifts to your growth instead of others' approval. You stop comparing yourself to people who seem more successful and start measuring progress by your own standards. Inner independence also makes you resilient. Life will always have challenges and people will always judge. But when your self-worth is rooted in your actions and your effort, criticism loses its power over you. You respond to setbacks with confidence, knowing that your path is determined by your dedication, not by the temporary opinions of others. This is why failure is a hidden blessing. It strips away illusions and dependency, leaving you stronger, wiser, and free. Once you survive failure, you stop needing validation. You no longer fear judgment. You stop chasing approval. Instead, you begin to build a life on your own terms, guided by your own values and vision. Failure in this sense is not just a teacher of lessons. It is a teacher of freedom. It creates inner independence. And once you have it, nothing external can control your mind or your spirit. Part 11. Turning failure into confidence. Confidence is often misunderstood. Many people believe it comes from winning or always being successful. They think confidence is built by never failing, by always getting approval, and by constantly achieving. But this is not true. Real confidence does not come from winning every time. Real confidence comes from knowing that no matter what happens, you can handle it. It comes from surviving setbacks, learning from mistakes, and moving forward despite challenges. It comes from the deep awareness that failure is not the end, but a part of the journey. When you face failure and continue anyway, you start to build a special kind of confidence. This confidence is unbreakable because it is not dependent on external success or recognition. It is internal. It says, "Even if I fail, I will recover." It does not fear mistakes because it understands that mistakes are part of growth. This mindset creates strength that cannot be shaken by temporary setbacks, criticism, or rejection. It becomes a quiet power that guides your actions without seeking attention or praise. Failure trains you to trust yourself. Every time you experience a setback and rise again, you learn to rely on your own judgment, effort, and resilience. You realize that, even if circumstances are difficult, you have the ability to navigate them. This self-trust is the foundation of true confidence. It removes doubt and fear, because you no longer depend on perfect conditions or constant validation from others. You know that you can adapt, recover, and keep moving forward regardless of the outcome. As you develop this mindset, you stop fearing results. You focus more on effort and process rather than being obsessed with immediate success. You learn to value learning over winning. You start taking calculated risks because fear no longer controls your decisions. This approach naturally attracts success because action and consistency become your focus. People who are confident in their ability to handle failure take more opportunities. They persist longer, work harder, and improve faster than those who fear. Mistakes. Turning failure into confidence also changes the way you see challenges. Each setback becomes a lesson instead of a threat. Each mistake becomes a building block instead of a barrier. Over time, you notice a transformation in yourself. You become calm in the face of difficulties, resilient under pressure, and unwavering in pursuit of your goals. The world may throw obstacles at you, but your confidence forged through failure becomes your armor. In this way, failure is not something to avoid. It is a tool to develop unshakable confidence. By learning to handle setbacks, trusting yourself, and focusing on effort over outcome, you create a mindset that naturally attracts success. Confidence born from failure is not fragile or fleeting. It is enduring, self-sustaining, and unstoppable. Part 12. Failure is proof that you tried. Failure is not a sign of weakness. On the contrary, it is proof that you dared to step forward. Failure happens when you take action, when you move toward a goal, when you try something meaningful. Many people go through life without ever failing. And the reason is simple. They never try. They stay safe. They stay comfortable. They avoid risks. They remain small, hidden in the shadows, never pushing their limits. In avoiding failure, they also avoid growth. Failure means courage. It means you had the bravery to take a step that others feared. It means you risked effort, time, and energy in pursuit of something important. Even if the result was not what you hoped for, the act of trying shows strength. It shows that you refused to stay stagnant. It shows that you faced uncertainty instead of hiding from it. In this sense, failure is not defeat. Defeat it is a medal of bravery for those willing to move despite fear. When you try and fail, you learn more about yourself than you ever could from staying safe. You learn your limits. You discover your strengths. You identify areas for improvement. You gain knowledge that cannot be learned from reading, listening, or observing. Every failure becomes a lesson. Every setback becomes an experience. And every mistake becomes a stepping stone. This knowledge alone makes you stronger than those who never risk anything. Many people feel ashamed of failing because society often praises only success. People look at the winners and admire them, but they rarely see the failures behind the victory. You must understand that failure is not shameful. In fact, it is honorable. It proves that you took action when most would remain idle. It proves that you had ambition. It proves that you dared to dream and to act. Never be afraid to fail. Never be ashamed to try. Each failure marks a moment when you moved forward, when you challenged yourself, when you refused to be ordinary. Remember that success is built on countless attempts, most of which involve failure along the way. By embracing failure as proof of effort, you shift your mindset from fear to courage. You begin to see each mistake not as a reflection of your worth, but as a sign that you are alive, active, and striving towards something meaningful. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of it. Every time you try and fail, you show the world and yourself that you are willing to act. You are willing to take risks. You are willing to grow. And that alone makes you stronger, braver, and more capable than most people. Failure is proof that you dared. And that is something to be proud of. Closing message. Failure is a teacher, not a judge. Remember this. Failure is not your enemy. It is not a force that exists to punish or shame you. Failure is your teacher sent to show you what needs improvement, to guide you toward growth, and to help you become stronger. It comes not to destroy your spirit but to refine it. Every failure carries lessons that cannot be learned through comfort or success alone. When you embrace these lessons, failure transforms from a painful experience into a powerful tool for personal development. Here on English Achievement, We understand that failure is part of every journey. It is a sign that you dared, that you tried, and that you are willing to push beyond your comfort zone. If you approach failure with fear, it will control you, holding you back from your true potential. But if you approach it with curiosity and determination, it becomes a guide, helping you rise wiser and stronger after every setback. Do not quit simply because you failed. Quit only if you refuse to learn. Rise again, but rise smarter. Try again, but try wiser. Fail again if necessary, but never stop growing. In the end, failure does not define you. What defines you is how you respond to it, how you transform it into strength, and how you continue moving forward no matter what challenges come your way. Be sure to subscribe to our channel for more such videos. Thanks for watching.